Right now, as you are watching this, the Middle East is on fire. Explosions are rocking Tehran. Missiles are flying over the Persian Gulf. American warships are in combat position. And for the first time in modern history, the United States and Israel have launched a full-scale, coordinated military attack on the Islamic Republic of Iran. This is not a drill. This is not a limited airstrike. This is war. Stay with me because in the next 10 minutes I'm going to walk you through everything that happened today, why it happened, and what comes next. At approximately 2:30 in the morning, Washington, D.C. time in the early hours of Saturday, February 28, 2026, President Donald Trump appeared in a pre-recorded video address posted to Truth Social. His words were blunt. He announced that the United States military had launched what he called, quote, major combat operations in Iran alongside Israel. The Pentagon has named its operation, Operation Epic Fury. Israel calls its mission, Operation Roaring Lion. Within minutes, explosions began rocking the Iranian capital, Tehran, then Isfahan, then Qum, Karaj, and Kermanshah. Cities across Iran were hit simultaneously. Millions of Iranians who had just gone to work sent their children to school on a Saturday morning, the first day of the work week in Iran, were suddenly living through something none of them expected. So what exactly did the US and Israel hit? According to officials from both governments, the targets fell into three main categories. First, Iran's nuclear program. The US has spent years building intelligence on Iran's nuclear sites. Today, those sites were struck. Second, Iran's ballistic missile infrastructure. Trump promised to, in his own words, destroy their missiles and raze their missile industry to the ground. Third, and most dramatically, Iranian leadership. Israeli warplanes targeted three specific locations where senior Iranian officials were known to be gathering. An Israeli military official confirmed that, quote, several senior figures essential to the management of the campaign and the regime's governance were eliminated. The Israeli military would not confirm whether Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei was among the dead. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi told NBC News that, as far as he knew, both the Supreme Leader and President Masoud Pezeshkian were still alive. Khamenei had been evacuated to a secure, undisclosed location before the strikes began. Trump's address wasn't just a military announcement, it was a political declaration. He spoke directly to the Iranian people, not just to the regime. He told them the hour of your freedom is at hand, and when we're finished, take over your government, it will be yours to take. He also issued a stark ultimatum to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, the most powerful military force in Iran. He said, lay down your arms and you will receive complete immunity. Or face certain death. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu echoed that call, urging all Iranians to, quote, cast off the yoke of tyranny and bring about a free and peaceful Iran. The message from both leaders was unmistakable. This isn't just about missiles or nuclear weapons. The stated goal is regime change. Iran did not wait. Iran did not hesitate. Within hours of the first strikes, Iran launched what officials are calling an unprecedented retaliatory wave across the entire Middle East. Iranian ballistic missiles flew toward Israel, with air raid sirens blaring across the country as civilians rushed to bomb shelters. Explosions lit up the skies over northern Israel, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Beersheba. At the same time, Iran targeted every major U.S. military installation in the region. Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar hit. The U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain hit. Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE hit. Military assets in Kuwait, Jordan, Syria, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq all targeted. An Iranian Shah drone was caught on video destroying a radar dome at a U.S. base in Bahrain, the video verified by the Washington Post. Dark black smoke billowed over the waters of the Gulf. In Dubai, one of the most modern cities in the world, residents heard loud explosions and saw plumes of smoke rising over the skyline. Iran's foreign minister declared the regime's retaliation would be, and I quote, crushing. Section 6, the Strait of Hormuz 4:35:10 grave, deliberate tone. There is one development today that could affect every single person on this planet, and it has nothing to do with missiles. The Strait of Hormuz, this narrow waterway, just 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, is the passage through which roughly 20% of the world's oil supply flows every single day. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, the UAE, Kuwait, all of their oil exports pass through here. Today, Iranian Revolutionary Guard forces began broadcasting on VHF radio to commercial vessels. No ship is allowed to pass the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has not formally confirmed a blockade. But if they follow through, global oil prices could spike overnight. Economies from Asia to Europe would feel the impact within days. To understand today, you have to go back. It starts in June 2025, when Israel launched its first major strike against Iranian nuclear and military facilities. The US followed with its own strikes on June 22nd, targeting Iran's ballistic missile stockpiles and degrading its ability to retaliate. Then in December 2025, something extraordinary happened inside Iran. Massive nationwide protests erupted, driven by the collapse of the Iranian rial, skyrocketing inflation, and years of economic misery. Over 100 cities across the country saw demonstrations. The largest pro-democracy protest since the 1979 revolution, the Iranian government responded with brutal force. Thousands were killed in the streets. The US put the death toll as high as 32,000. Iran's government admitted to over 3,000 dead. Meanwhile, negotiations continued. In early February 2026, US and Iranian officials held indirect nuclear talks in Oman. A second round was scheduled in Geneva for late February. And here is the detail that makes today so stunning. Just one day before the strikes, on February 27th, Oman's foreign minister announced a breakthrough. Iran had reportedly agreed to never stockpile enriched uranium. It had agreed to full IAEA verification. Peace, he said, was within reach. Then the bombs fell anyway. The world is scrambling to respond. The United Nations Security Council called an emergency session, urged by France and Bahrain, to convene at 4 p.m. New York time today to address what it described as the situation in the Middle East. The United Kingdom confirmed it did not participate in the strikes. Prime Minister Keir Starmer chaired an emergency Cobra meeting, Britain's Crisis Response Committee, and is speaking with French President Macron and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. Saudi Arabia condemned Iran's retaliatory strikes on Gulf states, warning of, quote, grave consequences for Tehran. Hezbollah, Iran's most powerful proxy in Lebanon, condemned the US and Israeli attacks but stopped short of pledging retaliation. For now, multiple airlines have canceled flights. Airspace over Iran, Israel, Iraq, and the UAE has been closed. Oil markets have not yet opened, but traders around the world are watching with alarm. So where does this go from here? Sources inside the US military have told CNN that this is not a one-night operation. The US is planning for several days of sustained strikes, not a limited punitive raid. Iran's foreign minister has signaled that Tehran is still willing to talk if the US and Israel halt the attacks first. He told Trump directly, regime change is mission impossible. President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke by phone today. Netanyahu's office released a photo of the call. A World War II political history book sat open on Netanyahu's desk. Analysts are warning that while destroying a regime may be achievable, what replaces it is the question that haunted the US in Iraq, in Libya, and in Afghanistan. That same question hangs over Iran today. Iran has 90 million people. It is the most powerful non-nuclear state in the Middle East. And it has proxies across the region, in Lebanon, Yemen, Iraq, and Syria, all of whom have not yet made their final move. What you are witnessing today is history being made in real time. This is the biggest military confrontation in the Middle East in a generation. The consequences for oil, for global security, for the Iranian people, and for the entire region will be felt for decades. We will keep updating you as this situation develops. Every hour matters right now. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Share this with someone who needs to understand what's happening, and stay safe.